Welcome to this look at the proposal. Writing the proposal is step 2 in the capstone process. If you have not yet had a project idea approved, that's step 1. This proposal is perhaps nothing like one you may have written at work. Most enterprises have their own format, which is probably nothing like ours, and those who may read a proposal at your company most likely come equipped with an understanding of the company and its needs. At work, you aren't writing for an uninformed reader. At WGU, conversely, almost any evaluator who would read your work is uninformed about you, the problem you are trying to solve, and the solutions that might work in your environment. The proposal you write for this course is more about conveying everything needed to understand what is going on. This is more like being in the Shark Tank, a show on TV that puts entrepreneurs in front of venture capitalists. If you don't give the VCs enough information to determine what the problem you're trying to solve is and how important it is to solve, and that your solution is the best one, then you don't get funding. Let's take this proposal one section at a time. I'm sure you've heard the recommendation to tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them, and then tell them what you just told them. That applies here. Start by telling the reader what this project proposes to do in one sentence. What's your intent? Then summarize the rest of the proposal from background on the problem, alternative solutions, and the environment to why the project is needed now, and on to an overview of the process you will follow and primary goals. A good way to wrap things up is to restate your intent and the time it's going to take to accomplish this work. Chances are good that as you write more of the proposal, you will revise and update this section. Check it often to make sure that it accurately and consistently reflects the rest of the proposal. Next is the review of other work. Many students tend to fill this section with lots of references to technical documents, concentrating almost exclusively on the technology for their project. That may be okay in a project where stakeholders already understand the environment and problem, but it is a limiting factor when readers are not well informed in those matters. The road from problem to solution depends on how we state the problem, how much importance is attached to solving it, and the environmental factors that come into play, like cost, existing infrastructure, resistance to change, technological comfort level, and so on. Another name for this section might be literature review. As an academic institution, evaluators want to know that as part of your educational process you developed some basic level of comfort or skill at conducting background research. As long as you provide 4 to 6 references from various sources to demonstrate that ability, you will probably be okay, which leads us to where you should look for this information. The WGU library is one of the best and simplest to use that I've seen anywhere, and that covers a lot of territory. You can find a link to it on the Resources tab of your portal. One of my favorite resources, Skillsoft's Books 24/7, is now linked on the library. So click the eBooks tab, and then the Books 24/7 tab, followed by the Books 24/7 logo to gain access. For Google addicts, Google Scholar is better than plain old vanilla Google. In addition to where to find acceptable sources for research, you may also need help with putting references and citations in APA format, which is the formatting standard WGU uses. For all things writing, from grammar to APA format, head for the WGU Center for Writing Excellence. The link is on the Resources tab of your portal. On their Google site, you'll find APA help and can book an appointment with one of their faculty. The other thing that may help you with APA format is a handy feature in Word. In the References menu, there is a Citations and Bibliography section. I have the Style drop-down menu on mine set to APA 6th edition. If you aren't familiar with this feature, use Word's Help Facility to find out more. After review of other work comes project rationale. A rationale is a reason. In question form, it would be why. Why do this? Why do it now? Why wasn't it done last quarter or last year? Why don't we wait another quarter or year? Potential answers to these questions may have something to do with policy changes, funding, talent availability, stakeholder desires, etc. There's no right or wrong content for this section. If the rationale is logically developed and makes sense, it's right. Next comes systems analysis and methodology. Systems analysis and design proceeds according to a specific methodology. Some enterprises and project managers fashion their own approach, and some adopt or adapt one of the many standard approaches common within the IT world. The most generic approach that I know of is ADDIE, which you saw in project management and which is up here on this slide. Its name is an acronym for its stages: analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. You are free to choose a model that suits your project. If it is a customized or adapted approach, you must first explain it. If you make a straightforward adoption of another framework, like the systems development lifecycle, then you can simply explain the conduct of your project according to its phases. For the proposal, you'll provide the most detail for the initial phases, analysis and design, providing only plans for the later phases, development, implementation, and evaluation. In the analysis stage, you'll discuss the current process or state of affairs and describe what is desired, the differences, the performance gap. For the design stage, you'll discuss what you plan to do to move from what is to what should be, how to close the performance gap, your design. In other words, you discuss your approach for closing the performance gap. Finally, for the remaining phases, you explain your plans, which may change as you conduct the project, so you won't be held to exactly what you write here. Next comes the project goals and objectives. Goals are usually set by owners and or upper management. They are high level and tend to be more intuitive than measurable. For example, if part of the rationale for this project was to respond to customer complaints about ordering, then a goal might be to reduce customer complaints. If other complaints were about back orders, then we might also have a goal of ensuring adequate inventory, and so on. These goals address the why of the project. Why are we doing this? Objectives are usually set by middle management and address the how of the project. How are we going to reduce customer complaints? Maybe by constructing a website that allows ordering and reduces inventory levels as customers place orders, then automatically orders new inventory when a particular level is reached. It may provide a secure environment for customers and vendors. Of course, those are very broad examples, but they convey the idea that there may be several steps and that each step is a measurable quantity. Deliverables are produced at the action level of the organization by those who normally turn specifications into tangible quantities. Some of our deliverables might be a working website, database, separate vendor and customer networks, and so on. In the goals and objectives section, we may mention deliverables, but they aren't actually discussed until the next section, project deliverables, although providing some discussion of them in this section isn't wrong. I also believe that it's a good idea to figure out a way to present a table or some other format to view the relationship between goals, objectives, and deliverables without reading lots of explanatory text. That way, the evaluator may get what he or she wants at a glance, but has the opportunity to read more if desired. So next is project deliverables. The first thing to say about deliverables is that the ones in this section should be clearly linked to the objectives in the previous section. No surprises. So what else can we say about deliverables? That's a question that comes up often enough. This simple diagram makes a few suggestions, but your project may call for additional or different explanations. If you included a table in the previous section that showed deliverables, there's no need to reproduce it here. Next, we come to the timeline. This table is deceptively simple. It isn't the actual dates that are important, although it's good to use recent dates. It is the elapsed time the dates represent. For the proposal, use future dates. Even if you have already done the project, make sure that the elapsed time governed by the dates is what you plan. When you get to the capstone, you can change these dates to sometime in the recent past and alter them so that their elapsed time represents the actual elapsed time of the project's milestones and deliverables. Since evaluators are unable to review your proposal when grading your capstone, real dates are immaterial, and elapsed times will have to agree with the explanations you provide for early, late, and on-time deliverables and milestones. That's it for the proposal. Thanks for viewing. If you have any questions, please get in touch with us at ugcapstoneit@wgu.edu. Goodbye.